to the Real Estate Scripts Podcast, the show that helps you know what to say when you're talking to buyers and sellers so that you can close more deals and earn more money. I'm Darren Tunstall, a real estate professional, coach, and #1 best-selling author. Let's get into this. Before we begin today's episode, I want to clarify some important points. I am a licensed real estate agent and my DRE number is 018534445. It's crucial to note that this podcast operates independently of my affiliation with Keller Williams Realty and any realtor associations. My primary goal with this podcast is to provide you, our listeners, with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. As a reminder, the purpose of Scripts and Dialogues is to come, learn, practice, and be prepared to fail forward. This is where we make mistakes and help each other out, but we're mostly interested in seeing how we can get better. First, we read through the script word for word, and then we go back and put it into our own natural tone, style, and phrasing. You won't know what to say until you go through the script. So, with that said, many people will say, that's not how I sound, and I totally get it. That's not how you sound. But that is the reason why we practice every day, so that the script becomes you and in your own voice. So, read it word for word first, then go back and put it into your own natural tone, style, and phrasing, and I think it'll work out. Today, again, we're still on seller objections, the more common ones, objections. So far this week, actually, what's going on? So far this week, we've talked about you are too new or inexperienced. I have a friend who is in the business. Yesterday we did, it's not a good time. We're going to wait. And today we're going to talk about the seller objection that says, but Zillow says it's worth this amount.
Right.
That comes up quite often because let's face it, that's where people are going. They're going to Zillow, so we might as well address the question.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and set this stage. In this scenario, this script educates homeowners about the limitations of Zillow's estimates and highlights the value of local expertise in setting a competitive listing price. And on that note, there are many websites out there that has different forms of estimates. So I don't want to just put Zillow in that box. There's other sites out there that do the same thing. Requirements are local market knowledge, understanding of Zillow or the system that they happen to be using, negotiation skills, and CMA expertise. The intention is to address a homeowner's reliance on Zillow's estimated property value, build trust, and educate them on the limitations of Zillow's estimates. It aims to persuade the homeowner to consider a more accurate assessment and pricing strategy by emphasizing the real estate agent's local expertise and negotiation skills, or your expertise and negotiation skills. Who's ready? Who's ready to overcome that objection?
So ready.
Awesome.
Oh, you sound like it, honestly. Man. Wow, the excitement in his voice.
That's funny.
Ready.
That's all right. Let's go ahead and break this out and see how it goes. Grant, you should join the room. There we go. All right. You guys ready?
Okay.
Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
So, Jamon, Zillow says my home is worth $500,000.
Oh, Zillow. Okay. Well, I understand. I definitely understand, Emily. And I've seen that you've seen the Zestimate on Zillow.
Yep.
Now, many homeowners, they use Zillow as a reference point for their home's value. Now, it's essential to recognize that Zillow provides estimates is really algorithm and publicly available data, which may not capture all the unique aspects of your property now, Emily. So Zillow doesn't really have the advantage of local knowledge and expertise that we can offer.
But I think 500,000 is quite an attractive number. And I think that's where we should list.
I I get it, Emily. I do. I really do. And 500,000, it does sound nice. And I'm not going to say that we can't do it, but why that figure might be, I can understand why that figure might be appealing, but however, we want to stick with our goal. And our primary goal is to help you maximize your profit when selling your home. We don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot or anything like that. So listing is too high. Listing it too high based solely on Zillow estimate, that might actually deter potential buyers who see it as overpriced. Now, so it's very crucial to accurately assess your property's value to attract serious buyers who are willing to pay the fair market price. And let me tell you, Emily, pricing it just a couple of thousand higher than what it should be, it's going to reduce the eyes on that property tremendously.
Okay, so what do you recommend is the right price to list my home at then? If it's not 500,000, where do you think we should list it at?
I have a good solution for that. I recommend that we conduct a detailed comparative market analysis. They call that a CMA in our world, and on your property. So the analysis, what it does, it takes into account recent sales of similar homes in your neighborhood, as well as the unique features of your property. This is a big plus. So by doing this, we can determine a competitive and attractive price point that reflects the current market conditions and full value of your home. So this approach, it'll help you achieve the best outcome when selling your property, Emily. And I want to ask you a question. How open are you just to discussing this further and conducting a CMA for your home?
Well, yeah, I'm open to doing that, I guess. I mean, you're the expert. That actually sounds better.
Emily, I want to thank you. Thank you for trusting me on this, because I'm telling you, we don't want to go too high or we don't want to go too low. We want to make sure that you get your goal accomplished and getting the right number that you want for your house. And we don't want to leave anything on the table. So what I'll do is I get everything together, get all those analyses together, and then we'll sit down next week and really at the end of this week, because time is ticking. So we'll sit down at the end of this week and we'll go over what I found. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks, Jamon.
You're very welcome, Emily. You have a good day.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. That was awesome.
So, yeah.
I get it. I get that one.
Let's flip that script. So now, Jamon, you're the seller. You're going to start the conversation with Emily.
Okay. Hey, Emily. You know what? I was doing some very extensive research, and these numbers, I think we can trust these numbers. Zillow says that our home is worth 500,000.
Oh, Zillow. Yeah, Zillow's a great tool when you're searching for a home. I understand that you've seen the Zestimate on Zillow, and many homeowners use Zillow as a reference point for their home's value. It's essential to recognize that Zillow provides estimates based on an algorithm and publicly available data, which may not capture all the unique aspects of your personal property. So Zillow doesn't have the advantage of local knowledge and the expertise that I can offer.
Really? I mean, I still think is 500,000 is a very attractive number, especially for the area that I'm in. Emily, I want to go ahead and list at that amount.
Well, I completely understand why you would want to do that. And that figure sounds very appealing for this neighborhood and for your home. However, our primary goal is to help you maximize your profit when selling your home. So listing it too high, based solely on the Zillow's estimate, might actually deter potential buyers who see it as overpriced. So it's crucial to accurately assess your property's value to attract serious buyers who are willing to pay a fair market price.
Let me ask you something. What do you recommend is the right price for the home?
Well, Jamon, as I told you, I am an expert in this area. I've been watching the market up and down for years. So I recommend conducting a detailed comparative market analysis on your property. And this
Mm.
analysis takes into account the recent sales of similar homes in your neighborhood, as well as the unique features of your exact property. So by doing this, we can determine a competitive and attractive price point that reflects the current market conditions and the full value of your home. This approach will help you achieve the best outcome when selling your property. How open are you to discussing this further and going over the comparative market analysis that I've prepared for your home?
You know, Emily, I would definitely be open with doing that. How long does it actually take? When can we actually get it done?
Well, I already have it done, Jamon.
Oh, okay.
That's part of what I do for my clients is I have all the data ready for you to go over and for me to explain it step by step and how we can come to the right price. And if you recall that we want to price it just a little bit under what's going on in the market to get more eyes on the property and more offers in. And that way we can get, more offers to choose from. And probably at the end of the day in this market, you'll get over ask.
I really like the sound of that, Emily. Let's do it.
Okay, well, let's sit down and we can go over this step by step. And then we'll compare all these properties that have sold in the last 2 months compared to yours.
Okay, let's do it.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Jamon.
Thank you, Emily.
Thoughts?
I like the fact that I asked that question, how long did it take? Because I wasn't sure, but I like the way she said, got it right now, let's go.
And you should have it already going, if you're already talking to a listing appointment, right?
Right, that's right.
How do you feel
Want to
about
go in with some kind of knowledge of what you're walking into?
That's right. How do you feel about the question in general or the objection in general?
I think, like you said, I think it's going to be something that common. But like also that you said, there's a lot of other platforms out there and they vary slightly. And I think with what's going on with Zillow, and I think people are a little more aware now that it's not the end all, that they are not the expert.
Right. Yeah, this is not neither for or against. It's just it's just an objection that we have to deal with. And when I bring everybody back, I'm going to actually show you one of Zillow's pages that describes what their algorithm is about and how much error is built into that too, because they tell you flat out this information. So I think because this is a fairly short script, let's try it out one more time each, and then we'll bring everybody back. And so we'll start out with you again, and Jamon is the agent.
Okay. So, Jamon, my house, I put a lot of work into it, and Zillow is saying that it's only worth 500,000, but I think it's worth more.
Well, Emily, I get it. I get it. I know you put your blood, sweat, and tears into this house, and a lot of homeowners that I work with, they use Zillow as a reference point, and it is essential to recognize that Zillow provides estimates based on an algorithm and publicly available data. So, Emily, I want you to picture this. They're getting their information based on what the computer tells them. And what we want to do is we want to get actual information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from. And those estimates, they may be appealing because they give you a number that's pretty. But our primary goal to help you maximize your profit when selling your home, we don't want to list it too high based solely on Zillow estimate. Because that might actually really deter potential buyers. We want to be in that sweet spot. So if it's overpriced, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So we want to assess your property's value to attract serious buyers, people who are ready to buy and who are willing to pay a fair market price. That does that make sense, Emily?
It does. Yeah. I mean, but I want to make the most amount of money for my house. Like I said, I put a lot into it, and we had the addition we added a couple years ago.
Right. Right. And I think just for that, you know, I would say that Zillow may not even be taking that into consideration, all these additions that you put in.
That's what
So,
I'm thinking. I mean, it doesn't
right,
matter that they're not permitted, right?
right. Well, permanent fixtures, you know, that still can add to the value of your house.
Uh-huh.
And so in this situation, we want to be accurate. So what I recommend for accuracy is conducting a detailed comparative market analysis on your property, and then we'll take into account recent sales of similar homes in your neighborhood, as well as the unique features of your property. So see, we'll be counting all those additions that you put in as well. So by doing
Okay.
this,
Yeah, because it doesn't say it on Zillow. I mean, we
it
added
doesn't say it.
300 square feet with that sunroom.
Right,
and
right.
It's not showing up as that.
So you see how important that this analysis may be for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So by doing this, we can determine a competitive and attractive price. A attractive price point that reflects the current market conditions and the full value of your home. So all those additions, that's important. We want to make sure that we get that. So this approach, it'll help us achieve the best outcome when selling a property. Now, Emily, how open are you to discussing this further and just conducting the CMA for your home?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It sounds like I'll get more.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I've already got all the comparables done and everything. I'll be over your house tomorrow about 9 o'clock. Let's get this rocking and rolling so we don't waste any more time. Okay?
Okay, sounds good, Jamon. Thank you.
Hi, you're welcome.
All right, let's reverse the role.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hey, Emily, you know what? Zillow says that my house is worth 500,000.
Oh, wow, really? Okay. Well, I understand that you've seen this estimate on Zillow, so that's awesome. Many homeowners use Zillow as a reference point for their home's value. But it's essential to recognize that Zillow provides estimates based on an algorithm and publicly available data, which might not actually capture all the unique aspects of your home. And Zillow doesn't have the advantage of the local knowledge like I do and the expertise that I can offer.
But Debbie, I work with computers every day. I really trust Google's algorithm and all these algorithms. They're pretty accurate. So I think I want to list it what Zillow's talking about.
I completely understand why that figure might be appealing, Chaman. However, our primary goal is to help you maximize your profit when selling your home. So listing too high based solely on the Zillow estimate might actually deter potential buyers who see it as overpriced. It's crucial to accurately assess your property's value to attract serious buyers who are willing to pay the fair market price based on actual data and not just a computer algorithm.
Okay, Emily, I hear you talking. What do you recommend that the price should be?
Well, I recommend a detailed comparative market analysis on your property. This analysis takes into account recent sales of similar homes in your neighborhood, as well as the unique features of your property, because we want to highlight those to bring added value to potential buyers. So by doing this, we can determine a competitive and attractive price point that reflects the current market conditions and the full value of your home. So this approach will help you achieve the best outcome when selling your property. How open are you to discussing the comparative market analysis to determine the right price to list your home at?
I'm pretty open to it. And are you telling me that you would choose these numbers over Zillow's numbers?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm open.
That's why you hired me, because you want to get the most amount of money with the least amount of stress to get your home sold for the best price and net the most at the end of the day.
Right. That's right. Okay, Emily, I'm with it.
Okay, so let's go over these properties that have recently sold in your neighborhood. And I'll tell you after we go through all these where I think is the best starting point to list your home. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes
Okay,
sense.
awesome. Thanks, Shimon.
Thank you.
Wow. You guys are awesome.
We are.
You guys are.
You are.
I am.
There you go.
We all are.
We
Yeah.
all are.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Now that we're all back, I want to clarify something. This is neither for or against Zillow or any other type of platform that has an algorithm to estimate a home's value. With that being said, I want to share a page with you real quick. So just in case, what is a Zestimate? The Zestimate home valuation model is Zillow's estimate of a home's market value. A Zestimate incorporates public MLS, and user-submitted data into Zillow's proprietary formula, also taking into account home facts, locations, and market trends. It is not an appraisal and cannot be used in place of an appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look at this, how accurate is the Zestimate? The nationwide median error rate for the Zestimate for on-market homes is 2.4%, while the Zestimate for off-market homes has a median error price of 7.49%. The Zestimate's accuracy depends on the availability of data in a home's area. Some areas have more detailed home information available, such as square footage and number of bedrooms or bathrooms, and others do not. The more data available, the more accurate the Zestimate will be. So, having said that, this is directly from their website. I'm just kind of looking through some of these here. And in general, for San Diego, they say that they can only use the data that is available. So when I look under homes with Zestimates, they're calculating 8.1 or 8,000 homes. We can only calculate estimates for homes regions where we have certain data, including home facts and local historical and sales transactions. This column indicates the number of homes in an area that we have that have as estimates. So they only have estimates based on 8,000. My point in showing you this is, again, neither against it nor for it. You know, there's some value that people find in using platforms like Zillow, but they're telling you that it's not accurate. And at the end of the day, there's only one person you should really be listening to when it comes to the home value. And they say it up top. That's the appraiser. You know, when the appraisal comes in, that's what we're being told is the home is worth. We can pull CMAs all day long. We can look at Zillow all day long. But when the appraiser comes back and says, this is what we think it's worth, given everything that we know for this market and all the data that's available to us, which is a whole lot more, I'm sure, locally, then that's how they come up with the accurate pricing. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
I was just wondering, when you get an appraiser's estimate, which is a pretty good idea of the actual value of the property, is it like a good strategy to try and price a little under or a little over that, depending on like the client's need? I guess, like, do you list it slightly below that price so that you can try and get competitive offers that like compete with each other? Or do most people just like list it for right around what it appraises for?
So that's a great question. There's a couple of ways you can go about this. Number one, you should know that when a seller is thinking about selling their home, we're going in there with comparable market analysis, CMAs, that is describing what the market has done, currently is doing, and what's actually sold, like what it was listed for and what it actually sold for. Typically, when the appraisal is scheduled is after a buyer has made an offer, and then during escrow, the lender is ordering the appraisal. So you won't really know exactly what the appraisal is unless if you decided to do hire an independent appraiser, then you could do that if you want. Not a whole lot of people do, but it still is something that's until it comes back from the lender's appraisal, that's what their lender is going to go with. They're not going to go with your independent search. But if you want to get an idea, it's kind of like doing a pre-inspection. If you wanted to get an idea, but that comes from the numbers from the MLS, so you'd kind of be spending money that you shouldn't, that you already have access to numbers through your realtor anyways.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
And Brandon, you got to be
Right.
careful doing that, because if anything that you do pre-sale, you have to disclose every document. So if you're trying to get a bidding war, if you're trying to increase the price, if you let's say you get an appraisal for 500,000 and somebody comes in at 550, doing presentation, you have to show them the appraisal of $500,000.
Yeah, and to add to that, you're also not making the decisions for anybody. You're only making suggestions, recommendations, and your clients are the ones who are going to decide, yes, whether they want to take action on something or not take action on something. So you do want to remain as neutral as possible, pretty much on everything. You want to help guide them and steer them, but they're the ones who have to make the decisions.
Darren, I personally actually like the Zillow, the Z estimate and everything. It gets them thinking, it's getting them thinking, oh, my house is 600,000. If anything, it opens up the doors for us. We just have to convince them to go with our CMA, things like that. But it's a good starting point. It's a great platform when people are dreaming. So I think Zillow's I personally like it.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Again, it's not for it or against it, but this is the place that people are going to and they're looking, and we have to be ready for that conversation. But you're absolutely right. When they decide to list with you, then when it comes down to actually doing the listing, because Zillow is even saying, we don't know all the stats. We don't know the market trends. We don't know what's going on in your area. We only have a limited amount of data. So that's where we come in as professionals to be able to provide that data and hopefully become be a lot more accurate than what Zillow has provided. But you're absolutely right. It can be a great starting point in, using tools like this and their own website. We can point out like, yeah, they're within the range, but let me show you where I think we can either get more or why it might be a little bit higher than what I think the market could bear right now. Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Well, I would just say that on my last two properties, they had incorrect information, including the property. They didn't even have the right house. So I think there's a lot of mistakes. And I'm not just saying Zillow, on all of them. Even when I've gone to, I was trying to find out what my next door neighbor's house sold for, and it wasn't my next door neighbor's house either. So I think some of the stuff, I know it's supposed to come from public records, but a lot of it's wrong.
Not
So,
necessarily. It doesn't always come from public records. In fact, that statement that I just read, it says it comes from MLS and user data, meaning, and I'll give you the example. Like I went on there because the home that I live in has never sold. Because I bought the land, I built the house. It's never been on the MLS and it's never sold. So what I did was I went in there as a user into Zillow and I added my home. Now I could
Got it.
add any detail that I want. You know, it might be a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, but I can add 4 bedroom, 3 bath because I consider my little den a bedroom, you know? So, but as a user, and if you're not a real estate professional, you don't know that. So it won't until that data gets on the MLS, for example, and then it gets reported properly to the public document, the public officials. Then if they pull that, that's another question. If these sites decide to pull that information, then yeah, it could either be way off or it can be right on, just depending on how we entered it in. It's like going to the MLS. Have you ever noticed sometimes you're flipping around the MLS and you're like, well, that doesn't describe this home at all. It's like there's no pictures, there's no information about it, and it's like or the realtor might have entered it into the MLS in a way that's just like that just makes no sense to me. And then you get to the house and you look at it and it's like, what's going on here?
Or like when they post pictures of the neighborhood, like the beach and parks, and it's like, what?
Yeah. I understand why they're doing that, but because
Yeah.
you want to bring some sense of community, but you know, that's a whole nother conversation. When you're taking pictures of the kitchen with dishes in it or clothes all over the place in the closet, we have a whole nother problem about marketing a home.
Right.
So, anyways, that's it for today. You know, at least we have a starting point, and I love that you mentioned that, Luda. It is a great starting point to have a conversation with people. But in general, the Zillow question, the Redfin question, the other types of platform questions, they will pop up, and you know, this is how we handle it.
Do you think one platform is more accurate than another? Like realtor.com, because it's part of NAR, might be more accurate than Zillow?
You know, it's all based on algorithms. And I remember when the internet first came out, it was always, you know, the joke was, oh, you can trust anything on the internet. And then at least my professors in college, they told me, you know, no internet resources allowed because the data was so skewed, you know, and so the way that I see it is, you know, these algorithms are built to attract users to use it for a certain way. It's like the AI, like Chat GPT type stuff. I mean, you can enter stuff in there and then it comes back. I mean, I've used Chat GPT and it comes back. I'm like, well, that calculation is way off. I'm like, don't you mean this? Because I use it to generate ideas and things like that. And then I put my own spin on it. But I'm like, it can't even add like 2 + 2 sometimes. So all I can say is check the resources and data. And does that make sense? Sorry.
Yes.
All right. So that's the script. I hope that you found it useful. Just head over to realestatescriptspractice.com for more resources and downloads. This podcast is for the purpose of education only, and it does not make any guarantees. We suggest you seek out the help of your broker, coach, mentor, CPA, or attorney. Brought to you by Darren Tunstall, California DRE number 018534445.